Hey, it's Dr. Shantae, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, we have reached the grand finale of our Unlearning Survival series, unpacking all of the lies that we have learned through trauma. And this one is especially important because it impacts how so many of us are showing up in our lives. And one of the biggest regrets of people who reach the end of their life is that they wish they had had the courage to live a life that was true to them rather than the one that people expected. And one of the lies that keeps people from living the life that they were meant to live and for reaching their full potential is, if I stay small, I'll stay safe. So many of us are shrinking from our full potential. We don't have the confidence. We don't have the courage. We think that being seen and being visible makes us a target. And this is something that you learn in survival. You learn to become invisible. You learn to shrink to avoid conflict. You learn to shrink and become small to people please and to manage other people's emotions, which is not your job. So if that is what you have been doing, if you know that you could be more, you could do more, you have talents and ideas that you haven't fully tapped into because you're playing it small, this episode is for you. Keep watching. So, shrinking back and playing small is a form of self abandonment. And a lot of times, this happens in environments where there's a lot of control or hyper scrutiny or it's unpredictable. And one of the reasons that we do this is because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. And so, for example, if you are a kid and you know the answers, right? You're the Hermione Granger of the classroom, and people start saying, you know it all, or you apple polisher, or you're kissing the teacher's butt or what have you, then you stop raising your hand because you're like, okay, I want people to like me and I don't want people to pick on me, so I'm just going to continue to be quiet. Or if you are in an environment where you might be the only woman or you might be the only person of color, and so you're not trying to make waves and you're not trying to draw attention to yourself, even when you have great ideas, or even when you know the answer, or even when you can execute a plan to great effect, then you're like, no, I'm just going to let somebody else take that. Or because, I'm just trying to keep under the radar. I'm just trying to, keep myself employed and, just kind of keep the target off of my back. And when you do that, you are abandoning yourself, you are abandoning your potential, you are abandoning the work that it took to get you to where you are. It is a negation in order to please, in order to assuage, in order to manage other people's insecurities, in order to manage other people's anger, in order to manage other people's expectations of you, when none of that is your job. Your job is to show up as the best and highest version of yourself, regardless of what other people think. But when you grow up in environments, or you work in environments, or you go to school in environments where being the best version of yourself makes you a target, that is where we learn to shrink back and become less and less of ourselves. And we start showing up as the version that other people can tolerate. So call me optimistic, but I am one of those people that truly believes that everybody's life has meaning and purpose. And I don't think that anybody's meaning or purpose in life is to manage the smallness of somebody else's insecurities or anger or jealousy or envy. And because we are hardwired for love and belonging, we want to be accepted. We want to be in relationship with people. We want friends and we want people to support us and we want to be invited to things. But think about how this plays out in the long term. If the only way that people can stomach you is when you are being less, when you have less money, when you don't have the great job, when you don't have the nice car, when you don't have the fairy tale relationship, if the only way that people can stomach you is when you are being less, when you have less, or when you are shrinking back and dimming your light, you need to ask yourself, why do I want to belong to this person? Why do I want this person's acceptance? Why do I want this person's validation? Why do I want this person's friendship? Is this the type of friendship that I'm trying to cultivate in my life? Is this the type of relationship that supports and is in alignment with the best and highest version of ourselves? And a lot of this is psychological because we tend to gravitate towards the negative more than we do the positive. So somebody could say 100 nice things about you, and one person has a negative comment. You will linger on the negative comment. You'll be like, what? What did they mean by that? Or why doesn't this person like me? Or wow, is that what they really think about me? And we'll start to ruminate on it, and we'll start to internalize it, and we will start to make changes in how we show up in life based on somebody else's negativity. Meanwhile, all of the other positive comments, they don't get the same weight. And so when we have somebody in our lives that rejects us or says little smart comments like, must be nice, or must be nice to be rich, or good for you. These kind of like snide, small, sarcastic, low key hateration type of comments. But when you have problems, when you have struggles, when you're going through some form of grief, then they're all about it. Then they're there for you. And it's like, oh, they're there now. Oh, I get it, honey. I understand. I'm here for you. If somebody can only be there for you when you're struggling and they can't be in the front row clapping when you're succeeding, that person is not a friend. That is not somebody who likes you. That is not somebody who loves you. That is not somebody who is for you. And so then you have to make the hard decisions about whether or not this is somebody that is going to continue to hold a space in your life. And if you don't think there's a cost for this, you're wrong, because ultimately, when you continue to people please and to shrink yourself, it leads to low self-worth, and it's disguised as humility. Like, oh, don't clap for me, don't mind me, just go on with your life, okay? And so you start shrinking back, and while it might seem like you are the humble servant, in reality, it is a reflection of your own sense of self and your own lowering of your own self-worth and value. It also causes you to miss out on opportunities, and you become angry with yourself because you're like, why do I keep betraying myself? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Why am I paying this cost to be in relationship with somebody? And then slowly but surely, you become invisible. And you're not meant to play on the sidelines. You're not meant to be in the margins. If you are meant to be the main character of your life, why are you playing a supporting role in your own life? And don't get me wrong, I fully understand not everybody is meant to be in front of the camera, right? Some people are meant to produce the film, and some people are meant to do the stage work and things like that. And all of that work is important because it takes so much and so many roles, both in front of and behind the camera, both in the foreground and the background, to make a life fruitful and meaningful. But if you are supposed to be the main character, if you have the talent, the skills, the know-how, the ideas, the vision, the education, and you've put the time in, there's no reason for you to be playing in the background when you need to be in the front. So this is why so many people reach the end of their life with such deep regret, because they grieve the person they could have been. They grieve the life they could have had. They grieve the money they could have made. They grieve the trips they could have taken. They grieve the friendships and the communities that they could have been a part of had they not shrunk back and became invisible to suit the purposes or to suit the insecurities or to fit in the pocket of somebody else's smallness. So as always, I have questions for you to reflect. First question is, what does taking up space look like for you right now? If you were to come out of the margins and step onto center stage, what would that look like for you? That's the first question. And then the second question is, what has being small cost me? What has being invisible? What has shrinking back? What has that cost you? And are you willing to continue to pay that price? What has it cost? And are you willing to keep paying it? So I want to end with this. Being small does not make you safe. It makes you invisible. It is a betrayal of your true self. And so being powerful does not make you arrogant. It doesn't make you overly confident. It doesn't make you too big for your britches. It makes you a whole person. Step into who you were meant to be. Step into who you were called to be. Some of you are ignoring a calling, that niggling in your heart. You don't have any peace about it because you haven't answered the call. When you have a call to do something greater and bigger than yourself, answer the call, because somebody is waiting for you to show up. It's not even about you. When I say people have lives of meaning and purpose, what I'm doing right now, this isn't about me. This is about you. This is about me trying to help you be the best and highest version of yourself. And so whenever I do these videos, I release it, I publish it, and then I release the outcome. Like I divorce myself from the outcome because I feel like whoever is supposed to see this is going to see this. Whoever's going to share this is going to share this. That this message, these words, this video will land where it's supposed to land. It's not about me. It's about being obedient to the call that I have on my life. And while it's not always the most comfortable thing to be showing up on social media, because social media can be a very vicious place. It could absolutely be a place where people project their insecurities and their hatred and their racism and all of the things. They do it anonymously, and sometimes people just say it with their chest and say, I don't like you for whatever reason. It's not always the safest place to be, but again, I divorce myself from the outcome, and I just want to encourage you to step out of the shadows, to step into the limelight, and be the main character of your own life, whatever that looks like. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to be in front of the camera being an influencer, but you might be a better engineer at your job. You might have more ideas that can help move the company forward. You might be the best student in the class, and however people feel about that, that's what you need to divorce yourself from, because it is not your job to manage other people's expectations of you. It is your job to live a life that is true to yourself, so that when you reach the end of it, and all of us are going to reach the end of it at some point, you have as few regrets as possible. So, thank you so much for joining me for this series. There's a whole playlist, so this is like the 6th video in the series, and it's our finale. But if you missed any of the other videos, feel free to go back, watch them as often as you need to, lean on them in those times where it's difficult to show up as your best and highest self. And if you like this content, feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.